Good evening, everyone. How many were here last year? I think our numbers have more than doubled or tripled from then. If you weren't here last year, is this what an exorcist is supposed to look like? Most people come with all kinds of preconceived notions. Perhaps that little elderly priest walking around with his black hat on and a cross in his hand, carrying an umbrella, perhaps. But hopefully tonight I can debunk any of those myths that you might have about what an exorcist does. What I'm going to do tonight is give a short presentation, and then afterwards I believe we're going to spend the majority of the time giving you the opportunity to ask questions. So one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight would be exorcism, why, and is it relevant in the world today? You know, it was in June of this year that Pope Benedict XVI released his third encyclical letter, Caritas in Veritate, Love and Truth. In this letter addressed to the religious leaders and all people of goodwill, our Holy Father states that the current ills facing humanity are the result of a moral crisis. People are moving away from God, and as a result, there is a rise in both secularism and superstition. Religion and belief in God are becoming less relevant in people's lives, and yet we are seeing an increase in things associated with the supernatural. Isn't it true that people are intrigued by such things as divinations, fortune-telling, witchcraft, black magic, curses, spells, and so on? That's why, as Monsignor mentioned, my phone rings at my parish an average of 5 to 6 times a week from people seeking assistance for a variety of things that they cannot understand. You know, the procedure in the Archdiocese of Indianapolis is if somebody wants to speak to the exorcist, they would contact the Catholic Center in downtown Indianapolis, and then the personnel office then fills those calls to me. But I've learned over the years that people know how to bypass certain protocols, and when they know where you are, they seek you out. When these calls come, the person usually begins saying something like, "Father, you're not going to believe what I'm about to tell you. I hope you don't think I'm crazy." They'll even say, "I haven't shared this with anyone else." And then the person on the other end of the line proceeds to tell me about some alleged supernatural occurrence taking place in his or her life or the life of someone they know. And as Monsignor also mentioned, it's been my role since 2005 to field all these questions. And I was told to take on the job. You know, it was in 2005 that the exorcist of the Archdiocese of Indianapolis passed away. Ironically, he was the pastor of the parish where I attended grade school. So I never dreamed one day that I would inherit one of his jobs. But after he passed away, all the priests in the Archdiocese were avoiding Archbishop Equine because we figured that he was sizing us all up, trying to find a replacement. And unbeknownst to me, I was at his residence for a meeting at the Archdiocesan level, and I found myself coming out of one room as he was coming in, and it was just the two of us. He says, "Father Lampert, I have a favor to ask of you. Congratulations, I'm appointing you to be the exorcist for the Archdiocese of Indianapolis." And then I thought, I got trapped. So it's not a job that I sought out. It was one that I was asked to do. And then dutifully, as that Archbishop told me, I have no idea what I'm asking you to do, but go out and find out. You know, every Catholic bishop is an exorcist by virtue of their episcopal ordination. And then the church says that they can bestow that charism on one of the priests in their diocese. So there are 12 priests that have been bestowed with this charism by their local bishops here in the United States. You know, when people hear the word exorcist, it usually conjures up all kinds of images and preconceived notions. How many people are thinking about the movie The Exorcist, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, or all these things that we see in Hollywood? You know, the exorcist today is becoming a type of a quick fix or guru for all sorts of seemingly spiritual conundrums that people experience in their lives. When people experience things that do not fit neatly into their normal, everyday lives, they will seek out an exorcist. But this is not their first course of action. Usually people will turn to other sources to try to figure out what is going on in their lives. Many people will turn to the internet for information. They'll go and read books. They'll watch television shows to kind of self-diagnose their situation. This creates an end product whereby a person becomes convinced that he or she is demonically possessed and needs to see an exorcist. In reality, it's been my experience that such persons actually just need the spiritual guidance of a good parish priest. When there's something spiritually wrong in your life, go and talk to a parish priest, talk to one of the priests here on campus. They can give you the direction that you need. If there's something there that cannot be explained, that needs to be taken to another level, then they'll know the protocol in order to do that. It's worth noting that genuine cases of demonic possession are extremely rare. They do happen, they are real, but let's remember that it's not a very common occurrence. It's also possible for some other sort of lesser demonic activity to take place in the life of an individual. Something more than just a normal struggle against temptation. What I hope to do tonight in my presentation and in our question and answer session is to debunk that myth about exorcism being rampant in the world today. But simply to let you know that the majority of the calls that I receive are from people who have lost their spiritual footing in life and need to find some way to get back to the right path that will lead them to Jesus Christ and give them a more solid foundation in this life. Clearly, a number of the calls I receive are from people who have definite diagnosable mental health issues. What I do for such persons when they come to me is that I connect them with a competent mental health professional that I've set up through Catholic Charities in the Archdiocese of Indianapolis. So we'll send them to get that type of diagnosis. If the mental health professionals say that there's something there that continues to defy what they understand and know about mental health, then that person could refer back to me. It's even possible that as they're seeing a mental health professional, they might still come and talk to me and receive some type of spiritual direction. In addition to the input of medical and mental health professionals, the tradition of the Church has maintained 4 criteria to look for when one is trying to validate whether or not someone is genuinely possessed. The criteria are the ability to speak and understand languages otherwise unknown to the individual, exhibiting extraordinary strength beyond the normal capacity of an individual. You might ask me some of those examples I can share with you in our question and answer time. During the 3 months I was in Rome, I was able to sit in on 40 exorcisms that were performed by Father Carmine. He's the pastor of St. Lawrence Parish outside the walls, and currently he's been an exorcist for the past 25 years. So lots of strange things occurred in his office in the 3 months that I was there. The third criteria, knowledge of occult matters, information otherwise unknown to the individual, and finally, an inexplicable aversion to the sacred. People don't want to be in sacred spaces. Perhaps they have an aversion to a crucifix, holy water, or any of the other sacramentals of the Church. The presence of these criteria, coupled with the lack of any logical explanation for what is occurring in the person, would provide the moral certitude. And that's the thing that I look for when I meet with anyone who believes that they are possessed. I look for moral certitude to determine whether or not this person is really possessed. Before then, I would determine that the rite of exorcism needs to be used. It's interesting to note that I was appointed by my archbishop, and only the archbishop or any local bishop of the diocese can give explicit permission for an actual exorcism to take place.